Moses Mpora presided over the function presented by the Commander of Special Forces Command, Brigadier Peter Chandia. Take a look.
These are part of the over 200 personnel of the Police Presidential Guards that have this year alone gone through training in Kasanyi Training School. The one-month refresher course that commenced on 24th August saw 81 trainees acquire knowledge with major emphasis on political education and leadership development, skills at arms, physical training, methods of search, communication and counter-terrorism operations. The Commando 1st Special Forces Group, Colonel Moses Mpora, presided over the function on behalf of the Command of Special Forces Command, Brigadier General Peter Chandia. Colonel Moses thanked the entire administration of Kasanyi Training School for drilling the students well.
To you graduates, I have carefully looked at your demonstrations, and I think this course, the objective has been achieved. So I am insisting and emphasizing on the word that the commandant has just said. The objective will be, the end state will be achieved only if you perform what you were taught here. Tuko pamoja.
He thanked the Director of Civil Military Cooperation, Colonel Gilbert Wamajezi, for taking the students through lessons of ideological development and orientation.
I am reliably informed that your ideological orientation was okay and you liked your course. Naomba mjipige makofi.
The commandant of Kasanyi Training School, Lieutenant Colonel William Mugabe, said apart from the two students who dropped out of the course on issues related to indiscipline and others who never completed on medical grounds, all the 81 trainees passed well.
Their discipline and attitude has changed, and I'm happy to report to you that this time all are graduating. Our special thanks go to the Commander Special Forces Command and the entire SFC leadership for the continued support to the school, for not getting tired of us whenever we call on you. We take this opportunity again to thank our guest lecturers, especially Colonel Magezi, our Director of CIMIC, who presented revolutionary methods of work.
The role of Presidential Police Guards is to guard the First Lady, very important persons VVIP, as well as strategic installations in the country. The function was attended by directors, commanding officers, commandants, senior and junior military officers, including Special Forces Command Corps and drums. Bernard Higa, UBC News, Kasanyi.
The Inspector General of Police, Martin Okoth-Ochola, has shunned rumors concerning his health while gracing at the Directorate of Medical Services annual general meeting. The IGP asserted that the public should be used to the new normal police operations. We have the details.
The Inspector General of Police, Martin Okoth-Ochola, has heeded to the public pressure and resurfaced after some time. For some time, rumors have been circulating on different platforms about the IGP's ill health condition. Today he has resurfaced and urged the public to get used to the functional systems which accommodate delegation.
This new leadership, for him, his style is different. He calls us for meetings, he gives us instructions, we discuss, then he says, Director Health Services will do this, Director CID will do this, Logistics will do this. Then he goes on to other activities. But now the people were used to the previous management style, where they expect to see Inspector General of Public, Inspector General of Police in the public on a daily basis. And you have seen he has just been officiating at this function. He is perfectly well.
While gracing the Directorate of Medical Service annual general meeting, the IGP hinted on establishing a strong health system in the Uganda Police by building hospitals in different territorial command centers.
The police leadership has plans to recruit more health workers in this financial year. We have plans to purchase more ambulances to improve on the current fleet. We have a plan to construct a police general hospital, as has already been said, at Nsambia Barracks, and the establishment of a police clinic at every police district or major police station.
The Police Medical Directorate is stressed with inadequate human resource, funding, limited facilities, among others. Currently, the police medical team has 509 staff, with a demand of 1,000 for a full capacity.
We lack facilities in some areas, mainly because we are still few and the lack of enough space to host these clinics.
The Medical Annual General Meeting 2021 was held under the theme Improving and Standardizing Health Service Delivery in Uganda Police through Strengthening Human Resource.
So let us build our own capacity to handle our own. We shall start the construction of the hospital very soon so that we manage our officers. You have the capacity. No doubt about that. Just a few things remaining on the understaffing.
In other development, police is reported to have recovered over 600 vehicles suspected to have been involved in crimes for the last 2 months. All motorists with outstanding EPS tickets are given till Monday, the 27th of September, to clear to avoid extra penalties.
Have overdue tickets, please use this process between these days between today and Saturday. Banks are also open. Pay up so that you are not inconvenienced in any way.
Abdul Nasir Luwama and Lydia Chomkama for UBC News.
The chairperson Parliamentary Committee on Health, Dr. Charles Ayume, has intimated to a conference on cancer and palliative care that the Health Committee is pushing for a policy legislative draft on palliative care in the country and other policies like health insurance for better implementation. Now, this was at UBC Auditorium along Nile Avenue, Kampala.
Cancer specialists say it could take more than a decade to clear cancer treatment backlog in the country. The third Uganda Conference on Cancer and Palliative Care in the country that was held at UBC Auditorium and by Zoom attracted experts on cancer. The chairperson, Dr. Charles Ayume, Parliamentary Committee on Health, advocated for integrated multi-sectoral approach on palliative care and asked for its insertion in the medical school's training curriculum.
As a policy, we try and push for the policy on palliative care. There's an interlink between the patient's rights to health care and also the policy on palliative care. So this policy, pushing for this policy comes at a time when the Parliamentary Committee on Health is also chasing other policies, including the National Health Insurance Scheme. How does palliative care fit into the scheme?
The Executive Director, African Palliative Care Association, Dr. Emmanuel Ruyirika, asked for an increase of investments and ring-fence funding for cancer and palliative care when it also comes to pandemics.
In Africa, many of the governments in Africa, when they were hit by the crisis, they moved resources away from most of the other things. We've just heard the Honorable talk about cuts. And the money left cancer and left HIV and some of the other non-communicable diseases and went to COVID-19. In addition, the lockdowns disrupted access to medicines, again, in most of those countries.
The head of childhood cancer at the Cancer Institute, Dr. Joyce Balagade, said that childhood cancer care in Africa, particularly in Uganda, has been hit hard by COVID-19 pandemic.
Despite COVID, childhood cancer is not going to wait. It will not wait for all of us to get on top of the COVID pandemic. It is incumbent upon us to make sure that we continue to do everything it takes, COVID notwithstanding, to make sure that our children get the best care possible, to make sure that we're treating them.
As the country is grappling with less oncologists, there is need to train more in that field for better management of cancer and palliative care in the country.
Funding for oncology centers. If the Cancer Institute is to sustain training of all these specialists, we need funding in our training programs, in our cancer research programs, but also in care, to be able to provide a state-of-the-art service to our patients.
Zahara Abigava, UBC News.
Now, the British High Commission, Kampala and Uganda Coffee Development Authority are launching a coffee competition to increase interest in Ugandan coffee in the UK market. The competition aims to bring a greater attention to Ugandan coffee from the UK coffee sector, including producers, buyers, trade associations and influencers. The campaign will be supported by the Ministry of Agriculture and will be a cross-continent event with a parallel event happening in London through the Ugandan High Commission.
Uganda's coffee exports have in the recent past took on an upward trajectory, with the country recording over 6 million bags in exports worth US $496 million in the 2020-2021 financial year. And as the exports increase, the country is now looking at ways of leveraging on relations with the existing countries so as to create a wider market and demand for Uganda's coffee.
We want actually to jump from 6 million bags to 7.5 million bags. And together, this is achievable. Our farmers, our exporters are looking for markets. You show them the direction, they do everything possible. So as you assure us the market, our farmers are listening, they will do that. And UK, I'm sure, needs Ugandan coffee.
Uganda Coffee Development Authority has partnered with the British High Commission to organize a cupping competition so as to promote Ugandan coffee to the most important figures in the UK sector.
Winners of this competition, and thanks to the British High Commission, will be given an opportunity to work as a company to develop and brand the Ugandan coffee for export market and selling to the specialty coffee retailer in the UK. We also expect that the trade deals will be brokered after the competition with the Ugandan coffee producers that will lead to a branded Ugandan coffee in UK supermarkets.
The UK High Commissioner to Uganda, Kate Irie, says that although Uganda is a leading coffee producer, the exports in the UK don't reflect this.
When my Prime Minister, the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, met His Excellency President Museveni at the UK-Africa Investment Summit last year, just before the start of the pandemic, they talked at length about ensuring that we get more Ugandan produce on UK shelves, and that coffee is just one of many commodities that should be consumed in households across my country.
Uganda also trades very little agricultural produce with the UK, despite being eligible for the quota-free duty access to the UK market. The High Commissioner believes that the yet-to-be-launched direct Uganda Airlines flight from Entebbe to London will help reverse this.
It's incredibly exciting. I'm looking forward to the day when, we can actually wish farewell to that first flight, leaving from Entebbe, arriving in an airport in London. I will be a regular traveller myself on that direct flight. I mean, it cuts the time down for both the trade as well as passengers. We know how important tourism is to Uganda as well. We will, after COVID, get back onto the footing of being able to support travellers into Uganda. So, look, I think the opportunities are endless, and it's a really symbolic, important move.
Coffee cupping is a method of evaluating different characteristics of a particular coffee bean, allowing the tester to compare and contrast coffees against each other for better understanding. Samuel Senono, UBC News.
Now, government is committed to deliver reliable electricity supply to the West Nile region and especially to Arua City that has for decades suffered from power shortage. The Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, Ruth Nankabirwa, says the construction of the 133 kV Oluio power station in Busia District and the erection of power pylons is an initiative geared at ensuring that West Nile is free from blackouts come the end of 2022.
I think that's one thing. Then we have 3.5 megawatts of hydropower installed at Nyagak. Now, that one, the 3.5 is the maximum.
The intermittent electricity supply is frustrating developmental projects and the social and economic growth of the West Nile region, and especially the bustling Arua city, which neighbors South Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. This state of affairs has been criticized by the residents and political leaders.
It's technical to see Wenreko out of West Nile. I can assure you, I myself and Madame Zilia here, she knows each and every page of that contract. We expect a full answer from you tomorrow for the people of West Nile. Why Wenreko is still here?
Electromax and West Nile Rural Electrification Company, Wenreko, are blamed for the power crisis.
So if the issue of fuel shortage is solved, so Minister, you are here, the engineer Zilia is here, so let us have that problem solved. Then Madame Zilia will task me as an operator to perform.
It is on this backdrop that the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development with top energy sector government officials have been in the West Nile region.
Arrangement on the ground right now, there are two things. One, we have to make sure that Electromax can generate power constantly by using HFO, diesel, and then by also making sure that we energize this transmission line, which we have just seen. So they are likely to have power earlier than the date of commissioning of Karuma. That is if we sort out the technicalities here.
Uganda Electricity Transmission Company says the multi-million-dollar project aimed at lighting up the entire West Nile region and Acholi sub-region is on schedule.
Oruyo is at 87% completion, as you heard from the project manager. And this, that substation will be fully energized and commissioned, because they are now doing some test commissioning, pre-test commissioning, by December this year. To be done. Now, this entire, what you call, I told you, Oruyo is part of this project, Karuma Interconnection Project. It is about $289 million from here to Karuma, to Oruyo, and also to Lira. So it will cost $289 million.
The 33 kV Arua substation is expected to be completed by September 2022. Nyagak hydropower and Electromax thermal power plant will continue to be operational to boost the grid. Dennis Igor for UBC News.
Now, bail is a constitutional right for a person who commits any criminal offense. It is also constitutional that one can be denied bail under circumstances prescribed by the courts of law. As Ivan Kaho reports, the cash and non-cash bail can either be state money or refunded to the accused.
The Supreme Law of Uganda presumes that a person charged with a criminal offense is innocent until proven guilty under Article 28, Clause 3A. Article 23, Clause 6 further states that any person arrested in respect for a criminal offense is entitled to apply for bail. The law does not classify the cases which are or not entitled to consideration for bail.
The court will analyze the circumstances of each case differently, and either that court may grant the bail or may not grant the bail.
The judiciary spokesperson Jamson Karemani explains why it is important for the accused to convince court why a bail application is being sought for.
He is only allowed to attend to his case while coming from outside. The other consideration court considers is the biggest one. If we release this person on bail, is he coming back to attend his trial?
The application for release on bail requires guarantee that the accused will appear in court as and when needed. This is why the accused is tasked to pay cash or non-cash bail.
That money they are asking you to deposit, it is security. They are looking at, in case you don't come back, is there fallback? Or when you don't come back, there is nothing, the matter ends there.
The cash is deposited to the bank, and when the accused is either found guilty or acquitted, his or her money is refunded. But when the terms given by court are breached by the accused, the money is then forfeited to the state.
Government takes it as revenue because they have also invested in looking for you.
But for non-cash bail, it is upon sureties to ensure the accused does not disappear.
That you have executed the bond of so much, not cash. Now that one remains hanging on their neck. If the person you stood for runs away and you can't trace him yourself, they will come to you and say, you said if he does not come back, you repay 100 million. Where is it? So the sureties have got to understand that standing for someone is not just a joke. It's not a game. It is something serious. You must monitor him.
When a bail application is rejected by court, the accused is remanded to prison, but for a period not exceeding 180 days for capital offences, while misdemeanors not beyond 60 days.
Much as they may be still going on investigating, that one is easy. You may even be granted bail without a surety. You may not be asked to pay anything. Court will just grant you bail after 180 days.
The judiciary has over time settled scenarios where people are arrested and detained beyond 48 hours, contrary to Section 25 of the Police Act. This calls for a legal alternative where in high-end profile cases, the 48 hours are not enough to carry out investigations to adduce evidence to the courts of law. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News in Kampala.
National Drug Authority has impounded drugs worth 163 million in northern Uganda during their annual joint enforcement operation that lasted for a period of 2 weeks. NDA inspected 763 drug outlets in the 19 districts in northern Uganda and impounded 545 boxes of assorted drugs worth 163 million Uganda shillings from 349 unlicensed outlets.
The National Drug Authority has advised all operators whose outlets have been closed and drugs impounded to report to NDA regional offices in Lira for guidance on compliance requirements. This followed the 2 weeks joint enforcement operation conducted by the authority in northern Uganda, in which 545 boxes of assorted drugs were impounded from 349 unlicensed drug outlets.
We don't give them any time because we've already sensitized them. We've done support supervision, and we need them to meet the requirements of premises, the requirements of qualified people being in the premises, and any other requirements.
So their challenge is to get the qualified person to supervise their facilities. And we shall get over this by the regional manager engaging them in the sessions of sensitization.
Yes, you come with this form and then you get back the drug. In the operation, some government-labeled drugs including Coartem, Lumefantrine and Kifaro, smuggled from Kenya, were impounded among others. Kifaro is mainly used by men to increase their energy in bed. The authority also appealed to the general public to report any form of irregularity to NDA's toll-free line 0800 101 999.
The increase in licensed pharmacies is further attributed to drug shops upgrading into pharmacies, easing licensing issues to cover a period of 3 years.
At this time of the year, usually, we expect everybody to have been inspected and licensed.
Although the authority noted challenges of accessing other outlets due to the bad roads, the RCC said government is committed to ensuring all Ugandans are safe and protected.
We will continue executing our duties of ensuring that the people receive all the necessary services which they need.
Although some outlets are still non-compliant, NDA has this financial year registered an increase in compliance level in which 23.2% of pharmacies were licensed and 22% of drug shops were also licensed due to the general regulatory interventions. Eddie Olwa for UBC News in Lira City.
Thank you, Eddie Olwa. Now, UBC News Tonight will take a very short break, but we'll return with more stories.
Today in history.
On 24th of September 1984, then Minister of Education, Professor Isaac Newton Ojok, announced that Makerere University had opened 2 other campuses at Chambogo and Nakawa in Kampala. Professor Newton Ojok made this announcement on the function that was held at Uganda Technical College in Kampala, and he noted the campuses and extension of Makerere University are now situated in the former Uganda National Teachers College, Chambogo, and the Uganda College of Commerce, Nakawa. He added, with immediate effect, all first-year students of Faculty of Technology are to begin their studies at the Uganda Technical College, Chambogo, and this was known as the Makerere University Nakawa campus.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. Finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly until James discovered something big. Now he can finally enjoy the benefits of homegrown advantage with a decoder and 1 month of GoTV value. For just 25,000 shillings, enjoy the world's biggest leagues and cap competitions. GoTV Uganda, love it.
Welcome back from that break, and we're glad that you're still watching UBC News Tonight. Now in more news, sorghum and millet are cereals that are used as key ingredients in preparations of bread, porridge and local drinks in many parts of the country. Researchers are now working at improving these cereals that are consumed by a majority of the Ugandan population so that they are climate smart, fast cooking and nutrition enhanced with market demand futures. Take a look.
We'll focus on breeding for materials that are good for food, that are good for brewing, and that are good for other industrial use.
Communities living in the arid and semi-arid regions of Uganda continue to experience malnutrition, mainly among children under the age of 5.
As a result, malnutrition is the order of the day, where over 36% of children in the region are undernourished, and 45% of the deaths that occur in children in this region below 5 is due to malnutrition.
Crop scientists at the National Semi-Arid Resources Research Institute, Serere, are now working towards improving finger millet and sorghum varieties for improvement of food security and nutrition among children.
The East African Center of Innovation for Finger Millet and Sorghum means a lot to us. The center aims at bringing the resources, leveraging the resources to accelerate development of varieties
The Research Institute has been awarded the East African Center of Innovation for finger millet and sorghum to empower communities residing in the same arid regions of East Africa to transition from a subsistence type of farming to one of increasing incomes, resilience, food, and nutrition security.
The overall goal that the center is focusing on is to improve food security and nutrition among the communities, particularly those living in the same arid and arid regions of East Africa.
Sorghum and finger millet, which are key in the making of porridge and local bread, have previously been dogged by low productivity due to growing of inferior varieties that are prone to diseases and unable to cope with vagaries of nature.
These farmers will be able to get improved varieties that are acceptable and that meets the demand for their day-to-day nutrition, but also for income and industrial use.
The National Semi-Arid Resources Research Institute, which is based in Uganda, will lead Kenya and Tanzania during the implementation of this project for the development and release of improved sorghum and finger millet varieties to accelerate adaptation and commercialization of value-added products.
And in the long run, we hope to see our farmers changing from the subsistence approach to commercial approach and improving their livelihood and resilience to shock that comes as a result of climate change.
The specialized breeding is aimed at ensuring the seeds are drought-tolerant, disease-resistant, early maturing, nutritious, and delicious.
Focusing on crops, particularly sorghum, barley, and cassava. And we are looking further to expand this collaboration with other industrial users of these commodities, especially those dealing in soft drinks like the Busia communities.
Reporting for UBC News.
Other commodities.
Busia District local leaders have urged the players in the energy sector to embrace local content by employing locals. This was during a groundbreaking ceremony of a classroom block for Purungo Primary School, where Minister Ruth Nankabirwa was chief guest.
This project is part of the Community Development Action Program spearheaded by the Uganda Electricity Generation Company.
The implementing agency, this is part of the Karuma hydropower project. So we are giving back to the communities that were affected, the districts that were affected. We've given this job to Beru. Beru is the contractor here on site. Yeah. Okay.
Is the Beru local here?
No. Beru is based in Kampala.
It is designed to mitigate the increased pressure of local social infrastructure, social livelihoods and natural resources, among others, that arose from the implementation and construction of the 600 megawatts Karuma hydropower station. However, at the launch, a number of key issues by the local leaders were raised. Among them, embracing of local content by the electricity subsector and oil and gas players, connection of Nwoya onto the national power grid, and enhancement of last-mile power connection.
There is nothing local. We expected the casual laborers from within Wianono. This area is called Wianono, but we do not have them. I would like to request you create a good rapport wherever you go.
The idea is industrialization for Acholi sub-region. Power can only go when there is industrialization. But can we also say that the industrialists can only bring power if they are assured that there is a capacity of power that has been allocated for the sub-region? I want to thank you for that assurance.
On her part, Ruth Nankabirwa, the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, pledged to ensure the local communities benefit and apologized for past mistakes.
So I just want to reiterate that these mishaps will not happen again. So what we want is to encourage the industries to come. Already we on the ground
As we branched off Karuma to come here, I was enjoying the line. My eyes were on those towers, beautiful, majestic. I was seeing us taking power to the people, because that's where we begin from.
Relatedly, the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development and her counterpart, Peter Lokeris, the State Minister for Minerals, have toured the 600 megawatts Karuma hydropower project as part of the energy sector familiarization tour.
Those ones? Yes.
Karuma HPP is expected to be completed and commissioned by mid-2022 if everything goes to plan. Dennis Igor for UBC News.
Busia District local leaders and residents have hailed the central government for its continued developmental projects to the district. This acknowledgement comes at a time when the Ministry of Lands was launching a 2-kilometer road construction project funded under USIMID in the district. The function was presided over by Lands Minister Judith Nabakova.
The Minister for Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Judith Nabakova, is in the eastern parts of the country. Received by the delegation led by the resident District Commissioner Busia District, Nabakova was ushered in Busia Municipality. Though this was a commissioning of the road construction project under the Uganda Support to Municipal Infrastructure Development, USMID, first was the road inspection, followed by the ground-breaking ceremony. The shilling 19 billion 2-kilometer road is situated in the heart of the district, and this project is highly welcomed by both locals and local leaders in the area.
Although we launched it today, it has already started registering some positive impacts.
The MC mentioned about dot services being untouchable. I would be very uncomfortable with that word. And the dot services, why do you want to be touched? So the emphasis here is to do your job very well and nobody will touch you.
Politicization of government projects in the area was totally condemned.
All of us, NRM, FDC, we are beneficiaries. Now we have no parties. We want to develop Uganda.
Although local leaders and residents welcome such government projects in the area, to many, this still remains a drop in the ocean.
If you are entering Uganda, you are either passing via Entebbe, that is when you have come with a flight, or you are entering via Busia. If we can make our sitting room better, it gives the first impression of what Uganda is to any foreigner. We are ready to become a city.
Employment of locally based manpower was a point raised by almost every speaker.
Why do you have to give people 70,000 when in other areas you have been paying 10,000? Please pay our people 10,000 or pay them 15,000, because we are privy to these contracts.
Last week, I took my appeal to the Deputy Speaker and said, again, they have given us dot services. She said, no, this time they will work. So dot services, kindly, I am requesting you that this is one of the baby projects we have in Busia Municipality. Work with quality and work on time.
Nabakova reaffirmed government commitment to foster such developments not only in Busia but across the country.
As a border municipality, Busia has extremely high chances to grow both in human and economic capital. This means planning for future growth is paramount. And use USMID resources to develop your town. In the best way possible, you can. Ensure solid waste management is put in place.
She also invited them to be party and person to the ongoing government projects such as the parish development model.
Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, has high hopes in the parish development model. We believe that now services are going to be taken to a parish level. Planning is going to be at a parish level. Even the roads we are talking about, we are going to plan from a parish level. But when it comes to selecting leaders on the parish development model implementation, make sure that you select genuine people.
Uganda Support to Municipal Infrastructure Development, USMID, is a program under the Ministry of Lands driven by results, but not only in infrastructure development. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
The judiciary has condemned the brutality against its members. The Chief Registrar Langa Sara Siu said this during the launch of the memorial lecture of the late Benedict Chwanuka, scheduled for Monday, the 27th of September.
The first Ugandan Prime Minister, first indigenous Chief Justice, the late Benedict Kazimoto Masika, was murdered in the 70s, and up to now, his body's whereabouts remains unknown. The cause of his brutal murder was reportedly based on speaking the truth, the fight and respect for human rights.
In 1972, a British businessman called Daniel Stewart was arrested and detained in Luzira on orders of President Idi Amin. No judge or lawyer was willing to handle the case, and the British High Commissioner appealed to the Chief Justice Benedict Chwanuka to handle that case. Being the fearless man that he was, the Chief Justice Benedict Chwanuka agreed to handle the case of the businessman, and he issued a writ of habeas corpus and warned the military against interfering with the work of the judiciary.
The late Benedict Chwanuka was Uganda's first Prime Minister and later first Chief Justice of Uganda. There has been inadvertent delay in the fourth memorial lecture this year, with the celebrations being pushed up from 21st of September to 27th of September. It is being marked under the theme, Administration and Delivery of Justice Through the Years.
Now a tradition in the judiciary to hold a memorial lecture in honor of the first Ugandan Chief Justice Benedicto Kazimoto Chwanuka. And this year, 2021, will be the fourth year that we shall be holding this lecture. As the Chief Minister in 1961, and in 1962 he became the Prime Minister in the new National Assembly.
The Chief Registrar Sarah Langa Siu elaborates the reasons that makes the judiciary celebrate the late Benedict's life.
It is held in recognition of his beliefs in the observance of the rule of law and the respect for human rights, for which he paid for with his dear life. We'll briefly talk about who Benedicto Kazimoto Chwanuka was. In 1971, he was appointed the first Ugandan-born Chief Justice and the second black Chief Justice in Uganda after Sir Udo Udoma of Nigeria.
Judiciary, however, condemned the attacks and assassination made on its own.
Officers, like any other Ugandans, face those challenges where they are attacked by terrorists, by criminals. So, of course, we condemn that, and hopefully the security will continue improving for all Ugandans, including the judicial officers. But as an institution, we take the security of our staff seriously.
Monday's celebrations are to be scientific and attended by invitation in observance of the standard operating procedures. Ivan Juko, UBC News.
Kampala Capital City Authority and the Ministry of Health have conducted a vaccination exercise for boda riders in the city. Now, this follows a presidential directive that all eligible persons go for vaccination against COVID-19 and among beneficiaries that have been safe boda riders. Take a look.
Population is vaccinated. And as you saw, we are targeting end of December to have vaccinated, to have used the 12 million vaccines, which as we saw, would have vaccinated 6 million people, 6 million people, without including the 600,000 that are already vaccinated or on the way being vaccinated.
Over 10,000 safe border riders have embraced President Yoweri Museveni's directive that all Ugandans be vaccinated. The exercise has been held at Safe Border Academy, Chevando. The exercise to vaccinate border riders has been spearheaded by Kampala Capital City Authority at Kawempe Sub-County. Dr. Kennedy Charles, the surveillance focal person, Kampala Capital City Authority, thanked government for bringing services to the people.
Realized that the eligibility was 50 years and above. That was not because the people are not eligible, but because of the doses that the government had received. But as I speak now, Uganda as a country, we have received different types of vaccines. We first got AstraZeneca, then followed by Sinovac, which of course we are targeting the teachers, and now we have also received Moderna, and now we are receiving Pfizer, which is starting next week. Now, when we realize that the number of the people who are vaccinated, to ensure what we call herd immunity, to ensure that in the country people have received enough immunity that can protect them against this pandemic. Then after getting also more doses of the vaccine, we have now decided to bring services closer to the people who may not be able to transport themselves to the facilities.
He says more emphasis is to be put in Kampala and they are to evaluate the number of people vaccinated weekly.
We decided to open up what we call outreaches, bringing services closer to the people. And especially when you look at this area where this safe border is, it has a very big population of the people who may not be able to go and camp at the hospital, giving the dynamics on the nature of their duties. So we decided to also, among other places, because in Kawempe division, we have ideally we opened up 20 vaccination sites, outreaches.
Ricky Thompson, the director Safe Border, says being on the COVID-19 task force, all Safe Border riders must be vaccinated against COVID-19.
Of course, as Safe Border, we're very interested in making sure that we get all our drivers vaccinated. But we are not closing the door for anybody. Just like I said, we are welcoming the members of the community of Chevando, people who are around here, other borders who are actually not part of the Safe Border, our customers and any other person out there who have not yet accessed vaccines. Because vaccination of the community is much more important. Limiting it to only our drivers is a disservice to the community. We want to open it up, and that's what exactly we have done. Our drivers can come here with their wives, with their families, and as long as you're 18 years and above, KCCA has agreed to offer these vaccines to everyone for free.
Beneficiaries thanked KCCA and Ministry of Health for bringing services nearer to the people, thus giving them an opportunity to get vaccinated.
Sinzira ku bantu babadde boogera nti ebintu bino birimu obulabe naye bwe ntuuse wano twisiddwa bulungi banyaniriza bulungi nengenda ne baŋŋema akayiso bakankubye siwuliddeemu bulumi era neewuunyizza okulaba nti omusawo aŋŋambye.
I smile when I think of you, Uganda, my home. My home, I dance when I look at you, Uganda, my home. Oh, my Uganda.
I know, with you I'll always stay forever. I know, because I feel that we belong together. My home. On my heart, mommy, oh my Uganda.
Hey, mama.
At MTN, we look forward to starting another exciting journey together to grow our home, Uganda.
Five times the winning, yeah. 5 times the happiness, yeah. 5 times the luckiness, yeah. 5 for 5, oh yeah. It's 5 for 5. 5 for 5. 5 times the money, yeah. 5 times the shopping, yeah. 5 times the prizes, yeah. 5 for 5,
shillings weekly in the 545 jackpot. Simply download the Center mobile app. Click Center on the go to open your account online. Transact 5 times or more using Center Mobile, Center Visa, and Center Agent to stand a chance to win. The more you transact, the higher your chances of winning. So, participate in the 545 jackpot and win millions in daily and weekly prizes. The 545 jackpot is brought to you by Centenary Bank. Our bank, Centenary Bank, is regulated by the Bank of Uganda. Customer deposits are protected by the Deposit Protection Fund.
Brought to you by
Transact 5 times or more using Center Mobile, Center Visa, and Center Agent to stand a chance to win. The more you transact, the higher your chances of winning. So, participate in the 545 jackpot and win millions in daily and weekly prizes. The 545 jackpot is brought to you by Centenary Bank. Our bank.
Welcome back from that break. Now into business news. A minister for Kampala, Hajat Minsa Kabanda, has asked for accountability for all markets in Kampala. The minister says preparations are underway to manage the money collected from the markets and blamed the authority for the poor management of markets.
The Minister for Kampala Affairs, Hajat Minsa Kabanda, has asked Kampala Capital City Authority to present reports of markets regarding expenditure. Hajat Minsa Kabanda says her office has noticed that most of the money collected from market vendors is being taken by individuals for their own benefit.
All account for the money they've been collecting, they should give the executive director a report. Masters, market administrators, and their secretary. We are going to put them in place. They will be responsible for each and everything, any administration in the markets. And we are going to put it in place any time from now. So we don't mind whatever they say, but for us we are working on behalf of the government and on behalf of the Wananchi.
She says the ministry has already written to the Executive Director, Kampala Capital City Authority, to present a report on the follow-up on city markets and is ready to counter any critics.
The situation in Owino Market, to me, is not as terrible as people say. It's only created by a few people, the so-called leaders of the market. And that meeting which was there was prepared by one person, that is Susan Kushaba. But right now I don't want to talk much about Susan Kushaba because I know her character. My only advice I would give her is just to listen to us because she's working under us. Secondly, she's working for the government of Uganda and for the people of Kampala. She was put there as an interim leader. But according to reports, I think she has not done much. She has been beating people inside there. Her people have been insulting people, beating them, harassing them, extorting money from them. Yet the presidential directive was plain that you don't take money from my Wananchi people. That was the statement. But right now she's collecting money, and I don't know why she's taking that money. She has to account for that money. All the market leaders should account for the money they've been collecting.
The Minister of Kampala Affairs is to suggest for the vetting of the neutral market masters to manage the affairs of markets and asked all those in need of the positions to apply to Kampala Capital City Authority. She says internal security organization has been deployed to investigate expenditure, adding that a directive to market leaders is asking them not to solicit money from the vendors.
This is spending money for those markets, all government markets, 697 million per month. Goes to government markets, and those people in the markets are also collecting money on behalf of KCCA, which is not remitted to KCCA. So they should let us know where that money is banked, the accountability for that money being extorted from people, and how much have they collected, and how much have they used so far in those 6 months. If they're talking about COVID, then they should write and tell the ED that we collected such and such an amount of money. It was little because of this, because all business haven't been collecting money. But the little money they've been collecting during that time, they account for that. Strictly, they're going to account for that.
However, the acting chairperson of Owino Market, Susan Kushaba, says there is need for the Ministry of Kampala to carry out thorough investigations in regard to what she calls allegations. The minister, however, says her ministry is interested in bringing back order in the market.
She has been in talks, peace talks with all the leaders of the market. Because if he's really a minister of Kampala, and she came into power, what she would have done first, to ask the accountability and how these people got that money.
I'm a person who talks to each and every person. I know Kayongo because I've been in Anichsen. I've been in Owino, that's why I buy things, that's why I reside even. But I cannot, for us we want at least to streamline. Who is the owner of that market? Who's responsible for everything? What are the legalities in the market? So after finding out, after answering all those questions, then we shall sit on the table and tell people whatever has taken place. But right now we cannot comment on anything because there is also a problem of legality. Does that market belong to government? Does it belong to Wananchi? Does it belong to a certain association?
President Yoweri Museveni ordered for interim committees to run different markets in Kampala for a period of 6 months and were to work under government and Kampala Capital City Authority supervision. Sudat Kaye, BC.
Now, in a bid to digitize the country's economy, MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited has partnered with Vivo Energy to provide cashless payment services to all Shell service stations. The partnership intends to rapid the growth of digital transactions.
Mobile payment services have become a necessity, especially with the onset of COVID-19 pandemic, which has fast-tracked the need for contactless payment solutions.
We will be able to combine and leverage the wide reach of the MTN network and the wide network of Shell service stations countrywide to provide greater accessibility to our customers to transact via mobile money.
The partnership of MTN Mobile Money Limited and Vivo Energy Uganda is expected to leverage the wide range of financial and digital inclusion.
This is about cashless transactions, which is Momo Pay. And then you have, as I mentioned, you can come in and do your cash in or cash out. So basically it's like agent points across.
All Shell stations across the country are expected to provide cashless transactions ranging from Momo Pay, airtime and cash withdraw, among others.
Drives the entire DNA, and then this pandemic comes along. And you can see how their vision is tapping into relevant solutions in this kind of partnership.
With this partnership with MTN, we will also enable our customers to conduct their financial transactions in a safe space at any Shell station of their convenience.
According to Bank of Uganda statistics, Uganda's mobile money transactions grew by 19.3%, which is 79.8 trillion shillings by June 2020. This rapid growth is set to strengthen the country's ambition of e-commerce. Lydia Chomkama, UBC News.
Thank you, Lydia. Now, Housing Finance Bank, Buganda Kingdom and Habitat for Humanity have signed a memorandum of understanding in a campaign dubbed Decent Living. 2 families got houses worth 20 million Uganda shillings during the partnership. The initiative is geared towards promoting the possibility of constructing affordable housing for village-dwelling Ugandans.
Most Ugandans in rural areas are faced with housing challenges, a situation that affects their livelihood.
Every human being, I think it is wrong to say that every Ugandan, I should say that every human being desires a shelter, a roof over their head. And after a long day's work, we all want to retire to a roof over our head. We believe that decent housing is a critical part of any healthy living and a healthy society.
Findings by Housing Finance Bank Limited indicate that Uganda's housing sector is characterized by inadequate homes in terms of quality and quantity in both rural and urban areas.
And what we're here to do will change the lives of two families. Actually, not just two families, but of various individuals in those families.
The Executive Director, Habitat for Humanity, Robert Otim, says that most rural areas have got the highest number of people in need of good housing.
We are looking at 1.6 billion people not having access to decent housing. Decent in terms of safety and security. Decency in terms of providing services like water, sanitation. Decency in terms of locating these houses in an environment that is very safe and secure for the people.
The housing deficit in Uganda stands at 2.4 million housing units, out of which 210,000 units are in urban areas and 1.395 million units are in rural areas. An estimated 900,000 units are substandard and in need of replacement or upgrading. Wadulo Makanold, Nsamba Juma, UBC News.
Was brought to you by...
The 5 for 5 jackpot is brought to you by Centenary Bank, our bank.
And now into sports. Bull Football Club has been boosted by a further 4 players ahead of their Stanbic Uganda Cup final against Vipers SC this Sunday. Now it should be noted that Bull FC only had 13 players available in dispatching Express Football Club at the semi-final stage.
Bull FC will this Sunday play its first ever Uganda Cup final against Vipers SC at the Fofa Technical Center in Njeru. Bull, that played its semi-final against Express FC with 13 players, has been boosted by 4.
And serious, I have 4 more new players on the team. 2 players were suspended because of yellow cards, so they are back on the team. The other 2 missed the tests, the COVID tests. They are being tested now here at FOFA. So I have 4 more new players on the team. So I think we shall be, now the squad will be at least bigger.
The players now available for Coach Alexis Abidi are Richard Wandiaka, Simon Peter Okech, Walter Ochola and Hamis Tibita. In the semi-final, Vipers that will play as the home team in the final edged Police 2-0, while Bull FC ejected Express FC 1-0. This 47th Stanbic Uganda Cup is sponsored in partnership with Plascon Paints and due to COVID-19 started at the round of 32, only for Uganda Premier League and big league clubs. The winner will walk home with 50 million shillings while second placed bags 20 and the losing finalists each get 12 million shillings with a cash prize reserved for all teams that entered. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
UBC News tonight has come to an end, but it's time for you to dance into the weekend with our reggae program Skanking Rays coming up next. I'm Lauryn Kazimoto and Mugalu Muhammad at Sign Language. We wish you a wonderful night. Here is Molin Kinyana with tomorrow's weather forecast. Good night.
Good evening to you and welcome to this session of the weather report. My name is Molin Kenyana. Well, we did start off today with quite clear skies. We were dealing mostly with intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions in the morning, but by afternoon we saw most areas develop into rainy conditions. And also for last night, according to the available report, we did have moderate rains across eastern Uganda. Zoroti was reporting 6.5 millimeters. We did have 4.5 for Bududa, and Gulu was reporting 1.2 millimeters. Now, according to our satellite analysis, we're saying that we still have those moist southeasterly winds. Those are coming in from the Indian Ocean towards the country, and also those are being enhanced by the local effects of the lake, as well as part of the rain belt that is still aligned close to western Uganda. That is bringing us rains, especially across this area, and also for northern Uganda. And from this, we can anticipate that tomorrow in the morning we're likely to start off with rainy conditions. Those will be across the Lake Victoria Basin as well as the central parts of northern Uganda. But the rest of the country, you can expect to start off the day with a mix of clouds and sunshine. Now later, as the day progresses, we will see more rains developing across the Lake Victoria Basin, extending all the way up to central as well as the western stretch, but for the Karamoja region, northern Uganda, as well as eastern Uganda, you can expect to maintain sunny intervals. Now, looking at our daytime highs, we're forecasting a maximum of 27 that will be across Kampala. Northern Uganda temperatures will rise up to 28. We do have a cool day for Kabale Highlands. We're forecasting temperatures to go up to 22 degrees centigrade. Taking a look at some of the world cities we have for you, we're forecasting sunny intervals that will be across Nairobi with temperatures going up to 25. We have rainy conditions for New York, and a sunny day is forecast across London as well as Dubai. Still high temperatures for Dubai. We're looking at a maximum of 37 degrees centigrade. And that brings it to the end of this weather report. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Lauryn Kazimoto, wishing you a good night.
This weekend, Youth of Purpose.
For anyone to be able to develop, talk about socially, economically, and politically, there must be presence of peace.
Peace, generally to me, is being assured of a safe environment and a safe tomorrow.
Every youth should try as much as possible to detest crime.
So there is quite a lot that you can do with young people because they are very sharp, they are very dynamic, they are smart, they have a lot of energy, and those are key skills that you want to bring into the peace building.
Let's preach peace, let's promote peace, and practice peace.
Uganda first.